Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. Oh, there it is. So, for today's reading, I honestly don't know what it's even really gonna be about, but I had a little bit of insights, and so honestly, I was just in such a lazy, relaxed mode. I was just reading my book, and I didn't feel like I was energetic enough to do a reading, but my guides told me to hop on. So the cards I want to use are my Egyptian oracle cards. Last time I used them, I got a reading that didn't make sense to me. I was saying stuff that really didn't make sense. And it really bugged me. I like went and did like all this research, and I thought I found what I thought it was going to be, but I knew that reading was more to it, but it didn't really get the oomph that it deserved. And that's probably because I still at the time didn't understand what I was saying, but I was called to say it. And so I haven't really used these cards since, because I didn't really want to be put in a situation where I felt stupid. But as I was editing a video from a couple days ago, I realized that I said one of the cards, I picked it up and I called it Persephone, and it was Persephone. And in it, and I'm like, I'm just going to call this Persephone. And as I watched it, I'm like, how funny. Like, I don't know. So anytime you have like a little mistake, I just find it funny. Especially when you do this kind of work. I think you get information a lot of the times, you as well. You get so many intuitive downloads, but you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, I don't know about that. But you really do. And you really are gifted this guidance. So I was very chill. Didn't really feel like doing a reading, but my guide said, I'm feeling like low energy, but they said hop on, right? Just get it out, because I guess this is like part 2 of the unfolding. Because as I was reading this book, I had a couple aha moments. And so I've read this beginning so many times, and it's just, I get it sometimes, and then other times it just doesn't sink in, and I've just read it and read it and read it. So I guess it was not meant timing wise to have it click, but I was sitting there and reading it. Oh yeah, the book is called The Union of Isis and Thoth. And so right now it's just kind of going through all the pantheon people, and I got to Solstice. And so there's a reading that I did a couple months ago, and it's when I did these cards, and it didn't make sense to me. I was naming all these names, and I'm like, yep, that's it. And then I went, and then I found out, no, it was about the Akashic Records and the Milky Way and all these things. And what I mostly remember from it was it said at the start of the year, or the start of the something. And so I thought that had to do with maybe about Easter time. I don't know. I kept seeing like Easter time because I saw Isis. But then I found Sheshet, and she was she does the Akashic Records, and up in like the sky. And so I did a little link to that. But here's another piece, because I do believe that it talked about Orion, it talked about all these other things, and so I didn't know about this goddess form, and so I just want to read it. So the name is Solstice, and so there's a picture on this side, and then I never actually read that. Okay, so it says, I named all these names and all these things, but I didn't pick up on this one. So, in her star form, Isis appears as Solstice, the name the Egyptians gave the blue star Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. As Mother Earth, Isis is more comfortable in the fields or delivering babies than in a temple. In her star form of Solstice, however, Isis is a Bodhivista, probably said that wrong, an enlightened being who, in her compassion and generosity, gives back to the earth and the people of earth all that she has learned. The bright blue star, Sirius, which the ancients knew as Sothis, is celestial Isis, follows Osiris in his form as the constellation Orion. During the 72 days between May and July, Orion falls into the underworld as the stars of his constellation set in the west and disappear from the night sky. And so today's May 1st, and then I come across this information as it's May. And back then, I think it might have been like February or I don't know, something like that. So it just really wasn't time, but it was like building up a story to unfold. So we've been doing all this inner work in that time unknowingly, and now it's ready for this next part. And so back to where we were. During the 72 days between May and July, Orion falls into the underworld as the stars of the constellation set in the west and disappear from the night sky. These months represent the time in which Osiris fell into the river, drowned, and was carried out to sea. In the myth, as the sky, Isis/Sothis followed after him. The 72 days that were required for the priest of Anubis to mummify the dead are linked to this magical number. When the helical rising of Sothis can be seen in the eastern sky at dawn, the re-emergence of Isis as Sothis heralds the coming of the annual flood that opens the ancient Egyptian New Year. It also marks Thoth's birthday. And so since then, we've had Thoth come in quite a few times. He's quite intense energy-wise, but he's all about like science and learning and things like that. This kind of just gave me like goosebumps. And then the next one I read from there, I just want to read this next one as well. Maybe not all of them, but just this one. So in it, I kept talking about the milky sky, and so Nut is the next one. It doesn't have a picture, but it says, the magnificent night sky goddess covers the ceiling of many temples and every coffin. Her graceful body of stars arches over the earth, touching it lightly with fingers and toes. As the Milky Way galaxy visible in the dark sky, her luscious white body arches over her beloved Jeb, god of the earth. The Milky Way appears to break into two separate streams of stars that represents her legs. And where the stream meets, it creates the empty, concave womb of Nut. On a clear winter solstice night, one bright star appears in that womb to indicate the impregnation of the sky goddess with the holy child. Such a sight might have caused desert magician/astronomers to gaze up as they crossed the desert to find that brilliant star and the holy babe it signified. The milk of her Milky Way is attributed to Hathor. As above, so below, Nut is the river of stars, and Neath is the river Nile below. So that kind of almost talks about like all seasons, because I was talking about the winter solstice. But from now until 72 days between May and July, so starting now, there's going to be the flooding, and there's going to be all the growth. And honestly, I don't remember what was really said in that video. And I wanted to go watch it, but Spirit's like, no, just do a reading and then say what you say now, get the information we want to give you, and then go back and rewatch that and put the pieces together. It's like a little treasure hunt / puzzle to do. So something to do. There's the Milky Way. I feel like the Akashic records with Sheshet were involved. We have Sothis, Nut, and I remember in there saying Isis's other half, like twin sister in it. But maybe that was Neath that I meant to say. But what stands out from that is from now until the winter solstice, this is a huge time of growth. And so I did pull some cards. And so on the bottom of the deck was leadership with Ramses II the Great. And I put it back in, shuffled again, and picked one, and I got this. I got leadership. And then so I wanted to use the golden future to clarify. And from that, I got the golden cities. And so what am I getting? I'm getting that this from now, I guess it's all the time, but right now, the reason this is coming out is there is great expansion. There are many times in history where great expansion has happened, and we often daydream about past and be like, oh, it'd be so great to go back to that time. But that time is right now. I think even in the last reading I did, I'm like, I see these cities that are almost like galactic, or, but it's like a consciousness. And so this one says, live ecologically and harmoniously. So I see a great awakening. And as that one talked about on the winter solstice with the milky sky and all the stars aligning, that it was all about birth or rebirth or something like that. And so I do feel like now is a time of stepping into great leadership. And if you're religious, like that could have been stars aligning, and that almost sounds like the whole story of baby Jesus. So let's just shuffle some cards. I can't make this long, I've got stuff to do, but what wants to come out? 4, I'm hearing. Does this one count? Yes. I heard something's knocking at the door. And with that, I see Seth. And Seth is in reverse. Ooh. And there's already 4. No more. Okay. So what do we got here? Okay, so with leadership, we had Ramses II come out. Then we had Seth, which is all about chaos and darkness. And so I'm seeing consciousness. Oh, this literally says group consciousness. I saw this as consciousness, living ecologically and harmoniously in the golden cities. I almost see that, you know, like in lots of TV shows, they have like cities of light, things like that. There's even like some civilizations, I think there's like one in Mexico that just vanished. And they say that they rose their energy together collectively and ascended. And so there's people like Buddha and all them who have like done it on their own. But as a group, that's very hard to do. But that's what we're doing as a planet. Our whole planet is waking up from this chaos, and we are going into this group consciousness. We're raising our frequencies. There's the hummingbirds again. They're saying your past lives in these times, back in the ancient times, helps you, but it's also your ancestors holding space for you. So I do see collectively that we are no longer going to value the things that we have. And you see it all the time. Watch the news right now, like celebrities, all the dirt and everything in Hollywood's kind of coming out. People don't really idolize the rich and famous as much as they used to and hold them up on this pedestal. And people are now seeing that it's more of the humanitarian efforts and the community and just being a nice person, not being a false fake person. So who else do we have? I'm going to say this, Horembib. Anyways, maybe I can't say the name, but underneath it, it says rags to riches. After I just said all that, there is this mass consciousness, and right now is this growth time of this flood. So I'm seeing the floods of the Nile. Maybe I am, what do you want to say about that? I think in this time, when the floods happen, it is going to be perfect, thank you. This one says planetary cleansing. Keep your space pure and clean. So there's energetic garbage. But what I saw was as the Nile kind of came, it was almost like, I'm not the most religious biblical person, but so I'm seeing like the great floods. And those great floods kind of go. And sometimes things do get flooded, or, you know, things get broken or washed away or something, and it is sad and it's really hard. I see like an event kind of happening, like maybe even like New Orleans, with Katrina or something, you know, and that kind of like wakes people up to kind of come together in this group consciousness. And what it does is it, I don't know, just things aren't going to make people happy anymore. And there's this cleansing that is happening. I don't see it as like a reason to be worried. I see this as a reason to step up and embody this. It says live ecologically and harmoniously. So in the way that we are with this race to riches, right? The rich benefit off the poor being poor, but there is a balancing coming. We're taking this chaos and we're going to find neutrality. We're going to cleanse it. We're going to, what's this one? We got agate with meditate. And that meditate goes here to group consciousness. And when I looked at group consciousness, it said 44. And it's so weird because the power, electricity in the upstairs is just so delicate. And I notice that sometimes when I talk about things that are intense, it gets really, really dark. And then when I start to like talk about like meditating in group consciousness and 44, the light comes back on. Just something interesting. But the last one here we have is food. And it says, choose locally grown organic produce. And so that's what the flood does. The flood like takes things and moves them farther than before, right? The seeds, let's say there's seeds here, but the water comes and it just, now it's all the way over there, right? Now there's fertile land everywhere. But I'm seeing that I'm seeing some things be destroyed. I'm not going to say it's something to worry about, but I am seeing things need this energetic cleansing. And those are the places that, I'm not saying that those are bad places, but they're places that it's going to wake people up. It's going to make them go from the greed and the set energy and the wanting to control to heart-centered and wanting to be part of this group consciousness. And so others are going to step up and help. And I'm not seeing it so much as like outside far away coming in, you know how like all countries give to like one country. I'm seeing it be more you waking up within your town and being like, oh, this person needs help and I have this and I can give this because I have excess of this. And that's where it's just going to kind of like balance more. It's not going to be like rags to riches. It's just going to be, everyone's going to be rich. Everyone's going to be abundant because there is everything around you to support you, to make this foundation be more grounded. And so when this flood happens, it's good because it's going to, that's emotions. It's going to wake up the heart. It's going to make people connect again and step into a leadership role. Is there anything that I'm missing? Something to do with this unicorn? Unicorn and set. Okay. And the food. I'm being drawn to a couple things. So the first thing that I was drawn to was the unicorn, and then in the food one there's a mare. And then the second thing I was drawn to is the bees, and the bees looked like they were in a tropical place. And then I was drawn to these energetic headphones. And so when I saw the bees, I got like, you know how when you go to the store and you, right, how we like take things from so far away, like from where I live, like pineapples and coconuts and things like that don't grow here. And so it's just like, how can you utilize the land that you're on and not need from like far away? Because now they're bringing me into the chaos, and the chaos is showing me the, what's that called? Palm oil. How some places that they know that they could benefit off it, so they started cutting down the rainforest with all the orangutans and things like that. so that they can grow more palm trees to make palm oil. And it's like something like that, like people know, right? Just read the ingredients on what's in your packaging and things like that. Now I'm being brought, okay, so like that's one thing to be mindful. Try and sustain the land that you have. And then they showed the bees again, planting flowers, right? Bees need flowers. And then those energetic headphones in the sky. On this one, he's sitting here with all his sound bowls. So what about the sound bowls? I'm hearing it's not so much that you need to go and do sound bowls, but I do think things like that would be helpful, especially if you, I don't know, I'm seeing attachments or just not feeling well. You can listen to like those vibrations to hertz and binaural beats and solfeggio frequencies. But what I mostly see in this one is him sitting here, taking away the bowls and just soaking up nature and more of like the bird sounds. And so now the birds, as I said, that is bringing me to the hummingbirds, the ancestors. So if you go and sit in nature in a little bit of quiet and find that peace, if you're a person who can't really find peace often, maybe listen to binaural beats will help bring that. It's almost like white noise or background noise. What's that thing called? Like brown noise. You can do that if you're trying to study or focus. But now I'm being brought over to this card, and there is birds here. There's that dove and there's that peace. And so it starts with you, to meditate. Agate is really good. Like it's all green, so green, heart chakra. But I'm seeing like moss agate when I kind of looked up in here, which is like the tree. I'm seeing all different kinds. There's so many different agates, and I think that's what's really great with agates and jaspers and things like that. It's like, how did they become the way they do? And each one has like a property that can kind of help you fine tune to what you need. And so agate, I'm hearing agitate with this Seth. And there's things, rags to riches, that just, you're like, it makes you mad. You're going to hear something that makes you mad. And it's like, as this flood comes, it's like, that's not fair, that blah, blah, blah. And so it's like going out and fighting isn't the way to go. We had set in reverse. It's like really learn to calm yourself and bring that peace. There is a inner flood coming, but what's that flood within you that you can awaken? How can you take that and channel it into something more productive? We want you to take it and channel it upwards into the mind and up and out and protect yourself, but bringing in that golden light, right? Enlighten yourself. And one of these cards, there it is. He's sitting there in gold. Eat more vegetables. Don't eat as much processed food, right? You don't need to go and eat. Yeah, that's to me. I love Tim Hortons, like the chicken lime cilantro wrap. I would eat it every day if I could. But do I need to go there? I'll save a whole lot more money if I were to buy groceries. And you know what? I'm an even better cook than that. So taking my own advice. I really gotta wrap this up. But one more to wrap it up. One more each, I'm hearing. So we have Imhotep with Magician. You're a master magician / master manifester, especially in these times as the great floods come. So we got express love and sexuality with Magician. And so this card came out in the other reading the other day, but what about it? Divided you fall, together you'll conquer. So whoever you're mad at, it's saying to meditate and stop that agitation, aggression, and meditate. How can you find the love in this? It says express pure love. And so if there's things within you that you hate outside of yourself, what within you needs to be fine-tuned? Do you possess the ability to forgive? And I'm not saying that what happened is not right. justice and karma will always balance the scales, but especially when it's very uneven. We are going into this harmonious living situation, and you're the magician. But I am seeing that what you eat kind of helps fuel everything. So that's very important for right now. We're stepping into this leadership role. As that one talked about in the book, it talked about the Milky Way, and then something from now as the flood until the winter solstice. And then it almost talked about like that impregnating night sky or night star. And so there will be a rebirth of something. There will be this magical moment of something. Maybe someone will get pregnant and have a baby if that's what you're trying for. But I also see this as like you creating something, the birth of a project or something like that. But if you are angry and you're pointing at people and you're idolizing the rich and regs and you need more, you really don't. Everything you need, the happiness, the pure joy, everything is within you at this very second. You're a master magician and you're a great leader. And so who else to lead you from this anger within of whatever, this past hurt or this injustice? I do feel like something injustice happened. This flood, this wave of emotion came. And so now it's time to clear up this garbage. Right? The unicorn, he came in many readings and said he wants to help us sew up our auric field and release past ties and things like that. So keep your space pure and clean. And when I say your space, I mean your energy and your heart and your mind. All of this, keep it clear. Choose locally grown organic produce. No more idolizing things. Things will never make you happy. We all know this. It's time to live ecologically and harmoniously. And sometimes when you do want the ecological things and things, it does cost more. But you know what? When you have that in your energy and that exchange, your energy gets magnetized in a better way. And then you can manifest easier. And then you become a better leader. You can think clearly. Meditating, it's not going to suck. You're actually going to sit there in nature in that peace and be happy. And so that chaos won't come. You'll be able to live with a real pure open heart. And when you do that, that's when that group consciousness raises. Embrace oneness. I'm hearing when two become one. And then 44 is a master, ascended number. So it's mastering something of the past of injustice. But it's knowing, great, I want to talk about Set once more. And he came out, he flew out. You can't suppress the things that you don't want to see, the things that make you anger. Set is just as equal in all of the pantheon gods. It's just lurking there. And chaos is not always bad. Sometimes I see that flood, right, as a tornado. That tornado will take those seeds and fling them really, really far. So maybe instead of having to go and get like coconuts from wherever coconuts grow and shipping them and wasting all those fuel and resources and stuff, maybe they'll start to grow where you live. I don't know. But it's just saying, be mindful. You have everything you need right now. And it's so important to forgive at this moment. And it's so important to think of the bigger picture and forgive yourself. And whenever this injustice, or if it has happened or if it's going to happen, it's not for you to want to seek revenge. It's for you to want to seek harmony. And everything will be balanced. So we'll leave it there. Have a good day. I will see you next time. Bye, guys.